Hi Willy Thistlers, it's Rachel from Barkland Croft here in Fair Isle. I hope you're all keeping well. It's very nice to be back with you, and I must apologise that you didn't get a video in the last couple of Shopcast episodes. Unfortunately, for those of us on the Vodafone network, the network went down on 4th of January. So we've been without mobile phone and internet access pretty much ever since then. It's now the 31st of January, so nearly a month without internet, which as you can imagine is very frustrating when you're trying to run a business, download photos, upload videos, the rest of it. It's still not fixed, but I can get on the internet at the hall and sort of piggyback on the primary school Wi-Fi, which is very slow, but I'm hoping that at least it will allow me to upload this video for you all. So what's been happening here in Fair Isle and on the croft? Well, it's not been a great year so far. So much for new year, new start. The past 6 weeks have not been great, I'll be honest with you. Mercifully, the sheep are all fine, the cats, dogs, hens are all fine, I'm okay, but just lots of damage from weather, things like that. It's kind of typical Fair Isle winter on one hand, but on the other hand it just feels like it really has been one thing after another after another. You'll see most of this in the video, but let's see. All the windows blew out in the garage. Most of the windows blew out in the greenhouse. That was in the gales in December. What else? I had problems with the gas pipe freezing that connects to my cooker. So my only source of kind of cooking, heating water for drinking. That went down when we had all the snow and ice. The boiler broke, so I was without heating or hot water in the house for just over 3 weeks, hence the sheep shear hairdo. What else? I've said about the internet and mobile phone. My flush on my loo has been broken for 3 months now. So I'm still waiting on that getting fixed. So I currently have to flush the loo with a bucket of water each time. Yeah, it's just frustrations, one frustration after another. There's hardly been any mail in or out of the aisle. Because with the Vodafone network being down, the card machine at the shop and post office isn't working, so unless you have cash you can't buy any stamps or send anything through the mail. Also, I think we've only had about three or four mail deliveries this entire month, which I don't get a lot of mail anyway, so it's not too much of an issue. But one positive has been that I'm still getting a couple of Christmas cards for the sheep, I should say, not for me, for the sheep, even yesterday, which was lovely. They've really been cheering me up, so thank you. We've hardly had any planes this last month because of the weather. We've only had 2 boats the entire month. One was, I think, the 3rd of January, and then finally they got another one in yesterday, which was the 30th of January. So yeah, it's just hoping winter would be over soon. Anyway, enough of me moaning about things. I'll stop waffling now and I'll let you see the videos and photos of what's been going on for the past month here. I hope you'll enjoy it. We had a really beautiful Christmas day on the Isle. It was calm, hardly any wind, the sun came out, it was dry. It really was a lovely day all round. That evening we had clear skies and there was this big halo around the moon. The following day, Boxing Day, was pretty breezy, and by Wednesday the winds were up into the 70 mph plus bracket. It was certainly a challenge trying to feed the sheep. By Wednesday afternoon the winds had peaked, and as you can see here, quite a lot of damage on the greenhouse. Ironically, this is the first time the windows have ever opened in there. There's another view from the inside. As you can see, just complete devastation really on the window front there. I don't use it so much as a greenhouse, but it's always made a really handy shelter for the sheep. Unfortunately, when the winds are like this, there's just nothing you can do. They're too strong to try and make repairs or do anything. You just have to sit it out. It did make me smile though. 89 mph winds, and there's Mary. Nothing's going to stop her from having her food. The winds showed no signs of abating overnight, and I was worried that there might be broken glass or things flying around in the night. So I wanted to make sure that the garden sheep, that's the really old girls and this year's lambs, were safe indoors. So tracked them all down, got them in and shut them in for the night, so at least I knew they were safe. And believe it or not, we weren't the windiest place that day in the country, but you can see there 89 mph winds for Fair Isle. And this was the following morning, which really was so calm. You wouldn't have believed, if you hadn't seen the damage, that there had been strong winds the day before. But yeah, so this gate here was just completely ripped off its hinges. Thankfully that hurdle had already been in place, so at least that stopped the rams getting in with the girls in the garden. Hen's looking a bit bedraggled there. The hen house, or the old hen house roof there, that flew about 10 metres across in the winds. You can see the glass damage here. Surprisingly, that was the only window where the glass had actually broken. I don't know how those two windows, and there's another one which I'd already moved around the side, had got blown out with no damage to the glass whatsoever. But as you can see, the other windows and the frames are all loose in there. And as that's attached to the house, it's a bit of a concern in terms of the structural integrity of that bit of the house now. The garage, well, the end window had completely blown out. Even the window frame had gone. The one window that was still complete completely blew out and smashed everywhere. So that was a lot of glass to pick up and make sure I'd got all the shards of glass out of the mud. So as you can see, the wind just roared through. It was coming from the east, which is from that direction, and everything in the garage there just got blown across. The wheelbarrow had been there overnight, and you can see just how much rain must have come in for the barrow to fill up like that. The major thing was that this is where I store all of my fleeces to go for spinning, and with the rain, they're all absolutely soaked. There's nowhere else I can, watertight, that I can put them out to dry them. So yeah, yet another thing to try and have to deal with. Scampy's not too happy either. Out in the fields, the feeding troughs here that are screwed into the wood, they've just been completely blown off. The wood sort of screws in the wood completely ripped out that hold it to the posts. And after quite a few hours, here are my repairs. So I used a pallet stuffed with scrap bits of fleece, which I kind of braced against the hole where the window was. Then put some old bits of board, the old cloakroom peg rack to hold it all in. And then the other window, I put some more boards on the outside and another one on the inside. So hopefully now that meant that the garage was watertight, and I could try and start drying out the fleeces. So there we go from the outside. There's a lot you can do with the scrap bits of fleece and old pallets, certainly. Can't really hear what I'm saying here because of the wind. This was the following day. We had severe gales again overnight and into this day here. But I think the gist of what I'm trying to say is that I'm really pleased because my repairs have so far held, at least, and the garage has remained watertight. Just mud absolutely everywhere. Heavy rain as well as the winds. It really has not been good weather. The ground everywhere is just waterlogged. There's nowhere, the drains are over, ditches are overflowing. There's just nowhere for the water to go, so it just sits there and then gets churned up into mud. Another day, another bit of damage. Luckily that pane didn't smash too much, so it was easy to clear up. And then a bit of a repair. Thankfully this time it didn't blow out the actual frame of the window, so I had something solid to screw the bits of scrap wood onto to block it up. Then another day, the vent for my boiler blew off. Those metal collars just completely sheared off in the winds, which meant that the vent pipe which attaches to that there just got, well, it was actually halfway across. Well, there's one of the collars. This vent pipe was actually halfway across the field when I found it, so I brought that back. This ceiling I've been reporting to the National Trust for Scotland, who own all of our properties. I've been reporting it to them for the last 3 years, that I'm living with black mould. It's now started leaking, letting all the water in. This is right over my boiler, and sure enough the boiler no longer worked. So that was my central heating completely gone, my only means of hot water completely gone. Normally it wouldn't have been too much of a problem because we get hot water when the turbines are working and we're on wind power, but they were all, one of them still, or two of them actually still are broken, so for a couple of weeks we weren't even getting any hot water through the turbines. I think the dogs certainly had the right idea, and the cats too, staying nice and cosy. Then when the gales had finished, we had snow, and I know a lot of you live in places where you get far worse winters than we do, and much more snow than this, but snow is still quite a rarity in Fair Isle. We don't get a lot, and it never really sticks around, so yep, this was the next weather event. And luckily the sheep have been growing nice thick coats to protect them against the worst of the weather. it always amazes me just how quickly the weather can turn from sunny one second to white out the next and then back again. The snow and ice of course brought with it frozen water troughs and frozen water pipes. We went back to gales, and one evening in particular the wind was really bad, and I had quite a lot of blackbirds in the sheltering in the byre, and also this turnstone, which is very unusual as this is a bird you normally find down at the beach. One day Fuzzy Felt decided to take himself off to my next door neighbours for an adventure, so luckily he's quite biddable and walked home quite happily as well. The snow vanished after about a week and we were back to gales again, and one day I went out and you can't really see there, but the entire section of fencing along with the fencing panel had blown across the road, and the wire was stretched across the road, and that was me getting blown into the wall. And this was basically the forecast for, I think it was 16 days in a row. I don't think the wind was set to fall below about 45 miles an hour for over 2 weeks. So it's not been the most encouraging of forecasts, I have to say. Yesterday, the 30th, we finally got what we refer to as a day between weathers, which was a bright sunny day, still fairly windy, but meant I could get some laundry out on the line. The boat finally went and I got some coal in. And you'll be pleased to see that a month on, my repairs, or temporary supposedly repairs, are still doing a good job of keeping the garage watertight. The sheep are enjoying their open plan living area, and today we're back to severe gales. On a cheerier note, the sheep have absolutely loved receiving all the very kind cards and gifts that you sent them for Christmas. With the lack of mail deliveries, we've still been getting things throughout the month of January, which really has been super and cheered us all up immensely. So thank you so very much from me and the sheep. Bye for now.